Minister, I first of all want to commend this report on tackling childhood obesity. A lot of work was put in by the Children and Youth Affairs Committee, and I particularly would like to thank the various groups and organisations who came before us. The publication of this report is a major step forward in addressing an issue which is a ticking time bomb in terms of public health in this state. Right now, 1 in 4 children are overweight or obese. And what's even more worrying is that the majority of parents with overweight children do not particularly recognise that their child is overweight. So what we are seeing is a normalisation on the issue. Only 1 in 5 children in the state actually get the recommended 60 minutes of physical exercise per day. And the long-term effects of this are not only devastating to the child, who, as they get older, may end up with type 2 diabetes, heart issues and other long-term conditions. And this in itself puts a massive strain on our healthcare system. The reality is prevention is better than cure, and the recommendations of this report contain some very simple ways to ensure that children are educated about their diets and that the targeted advertising of children by junk food companies is restricted. We also need to look at where fast food outlets are located and ways we can encourage healthy eating and physical activity. And just to say that while physical activity is important, the reality is you can't outrun a bad diet. And what we're seeing is the constant pushing of junk food on our kids via the broadcast media, visual media, and in particularly social media. And that's why I want to press home on the importance of recommendations 14 to 18. Minister, I was at a talk hosted by the Irish Heart Foundation before Christmas, where Dan Parker, a former top advertising executive from Britain, who worked with the likes of McDonald's and Coca-Cola, and he spoke about the cynical tactics that are used by junk food companies to target products on our children. And to be honest with you, it was an eye-opener. And what I took away from that was the only way to tackle the constant pushing of junk food and unhealthy drinks on our children is through legislation. Voluntary codes simply don't work. In fact, the current voluntary codes are a year old next week, and we still have no monitoring body in place or guidance developed. So this shows me that we need statutory regulation. In terms of some of the other recommendations, the issues of vending machines in our schools was one that stood out to me. It's bizarre that we have our students in home economics being taught about healthy diets, healthy eating, and as soon as they walk out of the classroom, down the corridor, the vending machines is selling junk food. Now, I know that some schools say that they rely on the money generated by these machines, but I think that's wrong. No school should have to rely on the takings for a vending machine, so I really believe that's something that we need to look at also. Finally, on the issue of takeaways deliberately locating beside schools, we've seen some campaigns such as the No Fry Zones, which it was a successful campaign in Wicklow and around schools, and it is a good initiative. But the problem is we don't have the clarification of exactly what is junk food. So we need to have the clarification on what is fast food, and we need that clarified as a matter of importance. So just to sum up, I really believe this is a great report. And if it's implemented properly, it will go a long way to tackling the crisis of childhood obesity amongst our young people. And Minister, I really hope it doesn't end up on a shelf gathering dust.